Hello. Welcome to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. I am your host, Eric E-Man, the cool guy with all the wrestling factoids that you love to listen to, just yammer on and on and on about. I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you lined up today. Today, we're going to talk about our AEW Dynamite review. We're also going to talk about a Thursday Night Wrestling preview, a little bit about, what to expect from Impact from the fallout of Rebellion at the Palms Casino in Las Vegas. And also, we're going to talk about Ring of Honor. Also, our third segment, we're going to talk about specific match, types that I've been looking, kind of like researching. I've been like, I don't know why, but there was something in the Ring of Honor thing that made me think of match types. And I was like, it'd be cool to cover like unique match types that I feel like would be awesome to kind of have regularly or weekly or just like monthly on pay-per-views or something like that. And I'm excluding, of course, your regular, you know, Hell in a Cell, Steel Cage, Last Man Standing, I Quit, basically all the mainstream ones like TLC, ladder matches, and table, et cetera, et cetera. And to cap it all off, we're going to talk about Logan Paul's recent prime hydration controversies. So I want to say Hershey's. Like maybe I'm hungry. Maybe I want some chocolate. I'm just kidding. No. All right. Well, before we move on to any of that, we're going to talk about our tips and donations. We get a number of questions from viewers like you that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions up on top so the whole world can see it, so the whole world and me, we can talk about it. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to hear as the audience. Yes, I'm the podcast host, but ultimately I fight for the people, baby, all the way. CM Punk. CM Punk. CM Punk. But yeah, like I said, just put your question up on top and just, if you want, leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity all the way, 100%. So again, the link is the GSMC podcast.net. All right. So what we got first, we're going to talk about our AEW Dynamite review. It was a pretty good Dynamite. I did say it was in Jacksonville, Florida. It was a little, you know, looking at the audience, it was I think it was a smaller venue though. Honestly, I think it was a smaller venue. It looked kind of looked a little dead, but then again, I don't want to jump to conclusion or like condemn AEW already to, having some sort of like kind of like a bust show. But ultimately, I watched it. I thought it was pretty good. So let's kick it off. So we have Swerve Strickland for the first time came out as the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Samoa Joe at Dynasty. The Samoan submission machine was dominant in his title reign, ultimately took over by Swerve's house. So, good for him. And he fought in a proving ground match against Kyle Fletcher. And I got to be honest, Kyle Fletcher was, he's the Ring of Honor television champion, and I was very impressed. He was very impressive. He was able to kind of hang in there. He kicked out from a swerve stomp, which, I thought the moment he hit that, I was like, okay, great. Like, okay, here we go. And then, he was able to kind of be out there and kind of be in that same, category of wrestling, like main eventers, main cards, or anybody who's willing or who's ready to fight for the AEW World Champion. So maybe he has a future. Maybe he has a future as the title holder. Who knows? He looked pretty damn good to me. So good for Kyle Fletcher. Next, we have Kenny Omega returning next week. Ultimately, I felt like you kind of have the old stable of the Young Bucks, and then you have Okada, who is like an extreme rival of Kenny Omega. You look back on rivals in wrestling, pro wrestling history, that has been like the best, most entertaining. Definitely something that comes to mind is Okada and Omega going at it. So it's gonna be interesting to see when he comes back. And maybe he's like going to build a stable as well to kind of take down the EVPs. Because right now the EVPs they're running rampant right now. And they just added Jack Perry. Of course, Jack Perry had that stint with CM Punk. Honestly, I'm kind of on CM Punk's side, I'm just kidding. I'm a biased reporter. I'm objective, kind of. I honestly think that Kenny Omega is going to try to take down the EVPs, going to take down the Elite, and I think it's going to all start off with, him challenging for the Continental Championship. So, it should be pretty cool. Next, we're gonna move on. They had an interview with Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa was ultimately attacked, and Thunder Rosa just looked. She looked pretty sad. She looked pretty sad. She looked upset that she wasn't able to beat the timeless Tony Storm at AEW Dynasty. But ultimately, there's always more time. There's all it's not timeless like Tony Storm claims. But Thunder Rosa is a good wrestler. She's an amazing competitor. She's an entertainer. I know, like I listen to her on the podcast and bust it open from time to time, and she's good. She's very good. Absolutely, 100%. Next, we had the Willow of Nightingale celebrating her recent TBS championship win over Julia Hart at AEW Dynasty. Um, it was interesting because the moment Mercedes Moné came out, you could tell, like you can just tell by like just the feeling in the room that Willow, Chris Statlander, and also like her hype man. They're kind of looking at it, they're like, "Oh, great, here we go again," And like I don't know, that kind of gave me a feeling that made Mercedes Monet kind of seem obsolete. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to say that she is obsolete because obviously she just got paid millions and millions of dollars to be on this new brand. But I don't know. I feel like perhaps maybe they're forcing it a little bit for AEW. Like we already know that she's gonna fight Willow Nightingale at Double or Nothing for the TBS Championship. Yeah, we already know that. But whenever Willow comes out, it seems like she's just constantly. Mercedes Monet is definitely a sure thing to come out, and you hear her new music, the CEO thing. So maybe they should line up on it a little bit. But anyways, there was a confrontation inside of the ring. Willow basically Mercedes Monet kind of called her the B word, which I can't say, but it just rhymes with witch. Am I, sandwich? I'm just kidding. Man, I want a sandwich. I'm just kidding. But I don't know. You could just see like that Mercedes Monet kind of has this personal vendetta against Willow Nightingale. Like I said before, Mercedes Monet's last match was against Willow, and Willow ultimately pushed her off the top rope. Mercedes Monet landed on her foot wrong, like broke it in several places, was told she can never wrestle again. Mercedes worked hard, trained, that eventually coming back to AEW, but she kind of takes that personal. And don't get me wrong, I'm a guy from the Attitude Era. I like it when wrestlers kind of seem like they kind of make it personal when they seem like they actually hate each other and want to claw their faces off and stuff like that. Like I'm for it. I'm for it. But honestly, with this whole Willow thing, like maybe just need to you know turn it down a little bit. Turn it down. Like we know they're fighting at Double or Nothing. It's been announced from probably within the last 2 weeks. It's probably been announced at least 100 times already. In 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. No, no, but like I feel like I don't know, just when Mercedes Monet, her music hit, you can tell that everybody, even the crowd felt like they were a little annoyed, like, because it's like, oh, we've seen this one before, but maybe, what do I know? What do I know? And then she said, in New Japan Professional Wrestling, she said, did you purposely injure me? And like, she's like, no, I didn't purposely injure you. And then they went back and forth and back and forth. She said, like, I went to my hotel room, I looked at the title and I was like, I won it, but I didn't necessarily deserve it. Did I beat Mercedes Monet at her best? I don't think so. But she's calling, she's saying her win now as the TBS champion, like it's no fluke. It's something that should not be seen as an asterisk. And to be honest, I think that's true. I think Willow, she's worked her ass off ever since she's been in AEW. So for her to be in the position that she's in right now, 100%. She deserves all the credit. All the credit. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then, of course, like in the past couple of weeks, you saw the lights go out, and then Mercedes Monet was taken out, and then you saw the lights go out, and Willow was taken out before her match with Edge. And a lot of people still they don't know who it is. It's been claimed that Julia Hart wasn't a part of it. I don't know how much of that is true, but it should be interesting. Should be interesting to see what they decide to go with that. Next, we have Anna Jay's match. Um, Anna Jay, like I've been saying before, I think she's going to be the next up and comer in terms of AEW wrestling. But this match was kind of like one of those matches that kind of set up the next like main feud, and then you kind of had Mariah May being attacked, and then ultimately Tony Storm had to come out and save her. Kind of like building maybe that jealousy model, or just like obviously Tony Storm is the AEW World Women's Champion. of course, jealousy comes to someone who is like, what is that word? Envy could strive, guys. Envy could cause any people to strive, either if it's in terms of like personal gain or in terms of like, like, hey, I just want what they have. It's a natural human response. And of course, wrestling is going to take that and they're going to exploit it and make it seem like a big deal. So honestly, Tony Storm and Mariah May right now, they're pretty close. They're pretty close. But Serena Deeb came out. She basically, what's weird during the whole I think they were having technical issues in AEW. I don't know why, because when they hit a couple of commercials and they had, okay, keep watching in picture, and then like you look at the picture and there was nothing. I was like, what? Where's the match? Like, I was like, what's going on? And then when Serena Deeb was doing her promo, like she kept like yelling and talking, and I couldn't really hear her, But of course, she got the main gist of it out, that she's going to be the next one to challenge for Tony Storm's AEW World Women's Championship. So obviously, her point got across. But yeah, I thought it was kind of, I thought it was kind of weird. I hope I'm not, maybe it was my TV. Maybe it was my, I got YouTube TV. I don't know if any of you guys had that same issue on AEW Dynamite last night, but anyway, so next we have the number one contendership for Roderick Strong's AEW International Championship. We had a casino battle royale. I thought it was actually a casino gauntlet match. Sorry, it was pretty good. I gotta be honest. You know what I mean? Like I'm not really used to matches like that. Like to be honest, it's I've been watching WWE all my life, so something like that innovative, that like compelling, just something new. Like, I think that's so cool. Like, I really like for AEW probably to come out of the woodwork and kind of become a wrestling promotion worth noticing. They should probably have a little more like just something like that. Like when people think of WWE, that's when AEW should be like, all right, we should take what they're doing and do something completely opposite. Because that's essentially what made them the promotion. Well, they were popular like probably a couple years ago. But of course, Vince McMahon was on WWE, head of creative, and creative projects and talents and stuff like that. So, obviously, Vince McMahon wasn't the best creative officer, but now AEW, and hopefully this is their first step toward the right direction. The AEW Dynasty did really really good. So, like I said before, I really don't want to see anything happen to AEW. I really honestly don't, because I like the show. I've been a fan for like a couple months now, straight up, being straight up with you guys. And honestly, it's a treat whenever you see something different on the, professional wrestling TV. So, keep it up. So it was a Casino Gauntlet match. You started off with Dante Martin and Jay White, Switchblade Jay White. Honestly, I have pretty good. I don't know. I see potential in Jay White. He kind of reminds me of, and obviously he'll never be the Game, but he kind of reminds you like a Triple H. He kind of has that like that bad guy mentality and always permanent like heel, but he's like that heel that people can kind of get behind under the Bullet Gold, the Bullet Gold Club. So I think he's one of the next definitely up and comers for the AEW World Championship. He's probably going to end up fighting Swerve Strickland probably within the next couple of months, maybe speculation. But yeah, he started off with Dante Martin out that, competitors like Jay Lethal was featured in this match. You also saw Kyle O'Reilly, Lance Archer, and of course, Will Ospreay. It was a good match. It was pretty cool. I kind of like the rules of it. Like, normally in a gauntlet match in WWE, you have two superstars come out, and a superstar does not come out until one of them is, defeated, pinfall, submission, and that's when the new guy comes out. This one's quite the opposite, so to speak. So you essentially have two wrestlers. You have two wrestlers. They're just kind of beating the hell out of each other. But in theory, it's kind of like a time limit match, because random people, they just keep coming out, coming out, and coming out. So the more and more you kind of speed up the match and kind of win, is the less people in the ring you have to worry about. So at time, obviously, this kind of looked like a six man, like a fatal seven way or something like that. And it was pretty cool. I dig it. I dig it. I thought it was pretty dope. Something new, something innovative, like I was mentioning before. So, And then next we kind of have the learning tree Chris Jericho come out and doing what he, what people expected him to do. Hook was not on the show tonight, but he was celebrating his new FTW World Championship reign. It was because he totally came out. Like, he totally came out. Chris Jericho, like, he was he was kind of being like an a-hole. He was kind of being a-hole to the crowd. Like, a-hole meaning that, like, dude, like, he knows what the fans were thinking about him on AEW Dynasty, telling him to retire and stuff like that. And like, he just like, he went out there and he was being like, oh my God. It was crazy. It was crazy. Like, he found a way to spin it and like throw it back into AEW Universe's face, because he was like, this FTW championship means for the world. I couldn't have done it without you guys. We did it together. And everybody was like, in the crowd, they're like, what is this guy talking about? We totally hate you. We told you to retire. And then, like, but in reality, Chris Jericho was just spinning it, just spinning it and spinning it. And he was like, just rubbing it in his face, like such a jerk. Oh, God. Classic Chris Jericho, though. This is why he belongs on a wrestling promotion. This is why you pay the man. This is why you don't let him retire. This is why he makes big bucks and doing what he does. And Chris Jericho has been the best at it for his whole entire career. WCW, WWF/WWE, and now in AEW. So, it was crazy how he was talking about Hook. He was like, he needs to get rid of that dead weight. He mentioned a couple of wrestlers, and he was like, also Taz, his father, which was, obviously no wrestler wants to find out, like, hey, dude, you should get rid of your dad. Like, he's totally weighing you down, bro. Like, obviously Dominic Mysterio must have listened to that because he got rid of Rey Mysterio. But now, who has the more success, bro? But, and then at the end of it, you saw Big Bill come out. Big Bill, formerly known as Big Cass of WWE. He wants to learn. So he went under the Chris Jericho learning tree. So now you have a new stable kind of building up. I can imagine two. I'd say two guys tops. I was going to say three, but I was like, nah. I think the new stable that's going to be branching out is the learning tree, where Chris Jericho, Big Cass, kind of reminded me of like an Evolution thing. Honestly, it really, really did. Big Cass kind of assuming the role as Batista, Chris Jericho, like a Triple H. Maybe sometime in the future of AEW, I don't know who is it going to be. But you're going to have those two other guys that like kind of remind you like a young up-and-comer, like Randy Orton was in Evolution, and kind of like that old seasoned veteran, more, I can't say really more older than Chris Jericho, because I don't really know how that many guys that are in the AEW roster that would fill that role. But hey, like, who knows? So, like I said, and then Jon Moxley successfully retained his PG championship, and IWG. Oh God, I always mess that up. But he did. Obviously, he choked him out. Powerhouse Hobbs had no chance, and I'm for it. I like Jon Moxley. I like the way he is in AEW. He hasn't been on AEW for a pretty long time, except last week and this week, of course. And it's exactly what I thought Jon Moxley was going to be on AEW. Pretty dynamite, pretty cool. Next we have Jack Perry and the Elite attacking Tony Khan. Totally feel bad for Tony Khan. I know today is the NFL draft. I don't know if he's in the Jaguars front office sitting with his dad with like the neck brace on or something like that. But like I said before, the Elite, the EVPs, oh God, why do I get that always wrong? Okada, and the new member of the Elite, Jack Perry, are just running rampant, and I think it's going to continue. And I don't know who's going to take them down. Like I said before, Omega's coming back next week. Possibly he might develop a stable, because I know, Hangman Adam Page has been out too. So, I don't know. Only time will tell. So, looking forward to, see what they do with Kenny Omega when he comes back, because I love that guy. I love Kenny Omega. He's a rock star, man. Total rock star. All right. Well, hey, guys, don't go anywhere. We're going to hit up our Thursday night wrestling preview, talk a little bit about Impact Wrestling, also a little bit about Ring of Honor. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest,
that fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant, I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some loose shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to kind of reflect on what we talked about. We talked about AEW Dynamite preview, which I kind of glazed over and forgot to tell you who won the Casino Gauntlet match. It was Will Ospreay. I don't know if any of you guys were surprised by that, but Will Ospreay recently coming off of a huge win against Bryan Danielson. And he's now the next competitor for Roderick Strong's AEW International Championship that they will fight. They will fight at Double or Nothing. So, wanted to squeeze that in there, definitely didn't want to miss the chunk of the meat in terms of that match. But before we move on to our next segment, we're going to talk about our Thursday Night Wrestling. Remember to hit up the tips and donations link. We get a number of questions that come in from viewers like you during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the GSMC podcast.net with your questions. Let's put your questions up on top so we can talk about it. Just tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to further elaborate on. Absolutely anything in the chat. It's fair play. We're all wrestling fans. We're all a family. And, obviously I love, peace, love, and positivity. Leave something positive. But if you have something negative, you know what? Feedback is a gift. Feedback is a gift. Criticisms work just as much as, praises, I guess, but just don't grill me or criticize me like Chad Gable did to the Alpha Academy on Monday Night Raw, because I don't think I can take it. I'm just kidding. No, but anyways, the link is the gsmcpodcast.net. If you want to talk, hit it up. It's it'd be fun. It'd be nice and fun to kind of talk to everybody. So yeah. All right, so we have our Thursday Night Wrestling preview. Obviously, tonight we have our Impact Wrestling on Thursday night, and also we have our Ring of Honor. I think it's episode 60. But yeah, let's dig on into it. So obviously, Thursday Night Wrestling, TNA. When you think of Thursday night, I think of TNA 110%. Kind of the TNA was kind of like the Thursday's always kind of been TNA show, kind of always their day and stuff like that. Kind of like Friday, SmackDown, Monday, Raw, and now you kind of have AEW Dynamite, which is, pretty cool. So you have a fallout. So we're going to talk about the fallout from Rebellion. Nick Nemeth looks to bounce back from his loss against the TNA World Champion Moose at Rebellion. I think for sure Nick Nemeth is going to find a way to kind of bounce back, and I don't think he's going to be able to fight Moose right away again. Perhaps maybe in a couple of months, but why not go for Kyle Fletcher? It's going to be a great match. Imagine going for the television championship. That would be, super, super dope. Or the digital media championship against Laredo. It could be, go either way there. Next we have he's going to square off against Eddie Edwards. And next we have Ash by Elegance. Looks to get back into the TNA Knockouts championship picture. Ultimately, you saw her replacement in that 8-4-1 match for the number one contendership to fight Jordan Grace at Rebellion. And you ultimately saw Steph D. Launder win the match thanks to Matt Cardona, which, tore pec. And he's going to be out for minimally, probably like a year, I would say. But she's back. Ash by Elegance is back. So, pretty cool. She's going to fight Xia Brookside tonight. Right, Brookside's no just squash match. She's no just kick to the curb competitor. She can do it. She can defeat someone. And Ash by Elegance, she had so much momentum before she was out. I don't know if she was out by choice or an injury, but they didn't really disclose any information in terms of that. But I don't know. It should be a pretty interesting match tonight. Next, we have Josh Alexander addressing the TNA universe after a last man standing match against Hammerstone. We'll find out what his next move is. We'll find out what Josh Alexander is going to do next. So, super cool. We have Sammy Callahan set for a 2-on-1 match between the Death Machine and the Good Hands. After a successful title defense at Rebellion, the X Division champion Mustafa Ali finds himself a new challenger. New challenger. I think the next one is Under Siege, and I think it's about like 4 weeks away. So should be pretty cool to watch that. Should be pretty interesting to find out who's going to square up with Mustafa Ali in the ring, because Mustafa Ali, like what I've said before in WWE, he's impressive. He's a high flyer. He knows how to like get the crowd behind him, but he also can play that good heel. He did that with Retribution in WWE Monday Night Raw, which ultimately kind of failed. But Ultimate wasn't his fault. Wasn't his fault at all. At all. So it's going to be a ballot box battle to determine the number one contendership. Next, we have Mike Santana return at Rebellion, and now he looks to build momentum after his return. Of course, who doesn't? We have the Rascals, Myron Reed, and then we also have the broken Matt Hardy, who made his return to Impact Wrestling on Rebellion. I love Matt Hardy, but like I said, I didn't really want to see him back in WWE because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like he's kind of like that veteran that when you put him on a roster, he's going to be able to take a couple of these young guys under his wing and ultimately kind of show them the ropes to kind of be like, hey, like I was once like you, like Matt and Jeff Hardy. They started off as I think they were actually part of the Brood. They were part of the Brood with the Gangrel. Ultimately, they went out and I think they were with Michael Hayes for a little bit, and then they became the Hardy Boys as a tag team. And then both Matt and Jeff Hardy became main Carters, main event, and singles wrestlers, winning championships and stuff like that. So having someone like Matt Hardy in your locker room is would be pretty good, pretty good. Next, we have Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, tonight we have the Outrunners. They take on the Undisputed Kingdom in a proving ground match. And something that really intrigued me was the whole concept of a proving ground match, because I think Mark Briscoe kind of had one of those matches against the Griff Garrison last week on Ring of Honor. And ultimately, Briscoe won. Love that guy. So I was thinking, I was like, what is a proving ground match? Then, of course, I did my, as a bookworm and as a college student, I was like, all right, do some research. You know what I mean? So I found it was, it's when up and coming competitors or competitor, they fight the champ, and if they win the match, then they get a chance at a future title shot. And also, if they last more than 10 minutes, they also could, get a title shot in the future. So, that's pretty cool. See, match stipulations like that, just to kind of switch it up, would be, pretty awesome. Pretty awesome to any creative team in terms of like wrestling promotions. So, next, we have the Bullet Club Gold. They have unified the AEW Trios title and the Ring of Honor's six-man tag team titles at Dynasty. Of course, like I said before, the Bullet Club Gold is, they're kicking ass right now. The Bang Bang Gang. Switchblade Jay White can't do anything wrong. He's going to totally kill it. He's the next star. He definitely has that. He has that face. He has that face. And of course, we all know he can back it up. We all know Jay White can definitely back it up because no one wants to mess with that guy. Do I want to mess with him? I'm just kidding. Switchblade, Jay White. Like, just the name in general. Like, it's just like, you don't want to mess with a guy like that. Definitely not. Next, we have Abaddon will be in action tonight. Also, Johnny TV will also be in action. Taya Valkyrie. And we'll hear from the always amazing Athena and Billy Starks. And then we also have Blake Christian against AR Fox and the Beast Mortos. And then, of course, we have, the Murder Hawk Monster Lance Archer. And the Righteous will also be in action tonight. So, obviously a lot of cool stuff going to happen tonight on TNA Impact, going to happen tonight on Ring of Honor. And, man, I can't get over that proving ground match. I think that's really cool. I think that's super badass. And, of course, I mentioned the 841 that, happened before Rebellion. And I don't know, whoever's the writers of Ring of Honor, man, they're innovative. It's just something different. It just hits different. You know what I mean? So, yeah. That's Thursday Night Wrestling preview. And next, we're going to talk about, get ready for our next segment. We're going to talk about interesting match types. And like I mentioned before, because of the Proving Ground match, I did my research. Obviously, a bunch of other match types came up, and I was like, oh my God, that's interesting. Ooh, that's interesting. Uh, what? Like, and then I compiled just a couple of matches that I think would do really well in terms of like WWE or just something to do, like just something to keep around in Impact or Ring of Honor, maybe even a New Japan Professional Wrestling. So, yeah, we're going to talk about that. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about. We talked about our AEW Dynamite review. The number one contender, Will Ospreay, is going to battle the AEW International Champion Roderick Strong at Double or Nothing. Of course, you also have another Double or Nothing match confirmed. Mercedes Moné against Willow Nightingale. It's going to be interesting to find out who's been the one turning off all the lights, making it all like pitch black and totally just attacking all the not all the AEW women's superstars in the locker room. So, super excited to find out about that. Swerve Strickland continues to be like absolute dynamite, continues to be the guy, and has a pretty bright future. I don't know how long his title reign's going to be, but I can see it lasting a pretty long time. Right. And then our segment 2, we talked about Thursday Night Wrestling preview. We talked about Impact Wrestling, of course, Nick Nemeth losing against Moose for it was a TNA World Heavyweight Championship match at Rebellion. And what is he going to do to bounce back? Can he bounce back? Obviously, you have a lot of great talent in the locker room. I don't know if Nick Nemeth can like just jump the line and be like, "Look, like I'm first, like you know what I mean?" Like, so it's interesting to see what he decides to do or where he decides to go. If he jumps to Ring of Honor, or maybe he makes a surprising jump into AEW, which would be I think that would be pretty cool. So yeah. Also, we talked about Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor. I noticed in some of the previews that I was reading online that it didn't mention Mark Briscoe. So I hope Mark Briscoe makes an appearance tonight because he is Ring of Honor. He's hardcore wrestling, man. He's the man. He's the Mac Daddy, bro. So, anyways, so we're gonna talk about interesting match types. Like I said before, this kind of all dawned onto me, and I thought about it because the Proving Ground match at Ring of Honor and kind of what AEW, just what they do. Same with Impact Wrestling. So, all right. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. Let's talk about it and talk about some good stuff. So yeah, it's interesting match types. Bam. So far, what I kind of want to talk about that's been an interesting match type that I kind of hope see doesn't really go anywhere is definitely the Heritage Cup match. The Heritage Cup match is obviously it's been kind of it's been on NXT. Why can't I not think about that? That's crazy. It's been on NXT, and ultimately the No Quarter Catch crew has been dominating. And but then again, this on Spring Break in night one, you kind of had the D'Angelo family like stake a claim and be like, look, when are you gonna pay us? When are you gonna pay us? And he's probably gonna pay him with the Heritage Championship Cup match, for the trophy. So you definitely can see that coming on. But, let's talk about the Heritage Cup rules. So you have 6 3-minute rounds. Pretty cool. 20-second breaks between each round, which is even better. I kind of thought that maybe they kind of got that from like kind of like the UFC, kind of someone like, like the TKO promotions, they kind of adapted that before they actually became one, the WWE and Endeavor. But I think that's pretty cool. 2 out of 3 falls determines the winner. Falls can be won via pin, submission, or and count out. In the event of a disqualification or a knockout, the match ends instantly, and if the 6 rounds are completed, whoever is ahead on falls wins the match. The tie goes to the defending champion. Definitely something cool. Definitely something I want to see more of in wrestling. So yeah, yeah, that's what I want to see. All right, next we're gonna move on. We have our semi-final battle royal. A semi-final battle royal. Just that name, just kind of intrigued me. I was like, how, what? Like, so you get a number of wrestlers to start the match, and it's battle royal rules. It's battle royal rules until there is 4. Well, sometimes they do it with like 4 people remaining, 3 triple threat, or like a one-on-one, like a 2 match. Usually you kind of get 4 of the best people. And I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, man, what if the WWE Royal Rumble they would never do that, first and foremost, because the Royal Rumble is flawless. It's badass. I wouldn't change the Royal Rumble at all. But, just like this semifinal battle royals, it's just pretty interesting. Like in any Royal Rumble, there's usually, of course, how many corners are in a ring? 4. So like you get 4 people left, and they usually have that stare down where they go to each corner and they're like, looks like this town ain't big enough for the 2 of us. And then like usually it consists of like the fan favorite, the heel, the random person, and of course the up and comer star. And I don't, usually one of those people gets the win in in any battle royal. So it was actually this match was on a January 2024 edition of NXT, where we had the 20 women in the battle royal, and ultimately 4 women at the end were left to fight. This match has also been in AEW. It's known as the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal, where they had 12 competitors, but only 2 survive. Only 2 survives. Only one emerges victorious. And also New Japan Pro Wrestling, it happened in 2021 at Wrestling Kingdom, where they had a match like this, where they had a certain amount of competitors, but I think they had 4 guys as well, just like the WWE. So, super cool, super awesome. I think it's something that they should absolutely keep. Next, we have a pick your poison match, or a spin the wheel, make a deal, or like they kind of have that. Oh man, what was it called? It wasn't like a Taboo Tuesday. I remember they did Taboo Tuesday in I think 2006 for WWE. But yeah, ultimately, so you spin the wheel to determine what stipulation you're gonna fight in. Like, don't get me wrong, I know for a fact that when it comes to violent matches, when it comes to like tables, ladders, and chairs, tables, cell, whatever, like you can't constantly put your superstars through that, because then these guys are only going to last like probably a match a month, so that, obviously it's not totally ideal, but you can always put like some like submission match on there, maybe like a random over the top rope, like, or something, just like something silly. Like it doesn't have to be something strenuous, like something that like that breeds blood, although that would be pretty cool. But but so ultimately they kind of had the spin the wheel, make a deal match. It was also there. It was also called Raw Roulette. Raw Roulette. They did it on Monday Night Raw a couple of times, and I don't know. It just did really, really successful. I liked it a lot. I know they kind of coined it in NXT with the Halloween Havoc. Like I said, it was revived by WWE NXT. So it's kind of like the focal point of that. But ultimately, I think it's cool. I think it's very, very cool. And I think they should keep this, and they should make it like, maybe like a once a month kind of thing. Another thing that I kind of miss, to be honest, is the 3 stages of hell match. Like I said before, like I know this might be a little strenuous, but I just think it's badass. I think it's cool. Like maybe once every 3 months. That'd be pretty cool. But you have 3 match types. You can like steel cage, ladder match, tables, ladders, and chairs, Hell in a Cell. I think there was even once an Iron Man match, I think between Triple H and Shawn Michaels, that occurred. So I don't know. I kind of want to see. That'd be pretty cool to see the 3 stages of hell match come along. You saw in Stone Cold versus Triple H No Way Out 2001. Then you saw Shawn Michaels and Triple H do it at Armageddon 2002. And most recently, you saw Adam Cole fighting Kyle O'Reilly an NXT takeover. And so, definitely a match that should come back. Absolutely love it. But I'm a match stipulation kind of guy. So, next we have like what we just recently talked about, our Casino Gauntlet match. This is something that should be in WWE. I think that would be super badass. I think that'd be super cool. Where like I mentioned before, the first person to get a pinfall, but this isn't like your standard gauntlet match where people will keep coming in and in and in, based on like a pinfall or submission. This is like a free for all, if that makes any sense. I don't know if any of you guys like play Super Smash Brothers, or it's like free for all, and everybody just like beating the crap out of each other, and you're like, oh, what's going on? But ultimately, like, so you have these two competitors inside the ring. Um, the match doesn't stop when somebody's covered or submitted or whatever. So this makes the wrestlers feel like they're kind of against the clock here. You're kind of against the clock where you have to defeat this guy because that automatically gets you the victory. There's no other guys that come out after that. So, but if you don't, if you let the match like just drag on and take your sweet little time, you have just wrestlers after wrestlers after wrestlers, and it becomes like a huge bombardment, like just bedlam. I think last night in AEW for the number one contendership for Roderick Strong's AEW International Championship, I think it was like a total of like 6 guys or 7 guys. Like I know Jay Lethal, Will Ospreay, Kyle O'Reilly. Um, yeah, like I think around 6 or 7. So obviously something that should be that should be universal and would be absolutely badass. So and also like I mentioned before, something that I definitely think that WWE should take is the 8-4-1 match. Essentially, you have a 8-person tag team match, and the winner of that team, all the superstars, the team of 4, they face off against each other in a fatal 4-way match, and there's one overall winner. Absolute genius. Imagine this happening at Survivor Series where you have the champion be surrounded by a bunch of guys in a traditional Survivor Series match. At the same time, you want to win, but at the same time, you're kind of like, I don't want to fight these guys. So, like, but ultimately, I think that would be pretty sick. Absolutely 100%. So, definitely something that's WWE should definitely pay more attention to. So, yeah, like I said before, absolutely love it. Absolutely love stipulations matches. This is something that I kind of want to go over before I end this match stipulation segment. Is when was the last time we actually had a traditional Survivor Series elimination match? I know we have had it in the past, but I just feel like lately, within the past couple of years, it just seems so redonkulous. It just seems so redonkulous. I know back in I think it was 2018. I think so. No, I think it was after that, where they had WWE NXT against WWE Raw against WWE SmackDown, where there was triple threat matches galore, and it was just super cool. But then I also remember one where they had like a tag team traditional Survivor Series match, where you had all these you just had a group of just a whole corner of guys, and I don't know, it was something really cool, and I thought it was badass. The more wrestlers in the ring at the same time is better. I'm just kidding. There's obviously certain things that could go wrong when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I'm of course not a wrestling athlete. I doubt that I would be. I'm like 5'6", so maybe I can be like a cruiserweight. Maybe I can be like the next Rey Mysterio. Like that would be pretty cool, but ultimately, I'm not. I'm not. So who the hell am I to be like, oh, these guys should be fighting in this stipulation? Who the hell is this guy? Anyways, so don't go anywhere. Next, we're going to talk about Logan Paul. Recently, Prime Hydration has been under scrutiny. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, the allegations and the potential lawsuits. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, all right, all right. And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of reflect on what we talked about, our segment when we talked about AEW Dynamite, and we reviewed it. We talked about our Thursday Night Wrestling preview, and we also talked about a couple of match types that, oh, they're some of them were violent, I admit, but then some of them were violent that I can absolutely, that would be so entertaining to the max. So let's sign a petition and get these matches passed, guys. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, let's move on. So next, we're gonna talk about the YouTube sensation, of course, the WWE United States Champion. We're gonna talk about Logan Paul and the recent allegations against Prime Energy hydration drinks. So Logan Paul has addressed the allegations from his company, and they were quote unquote using forever chemicals in their bottles. The chemicals detrimentally harm for consumers' bodies, but forever chemicals are man-made chemicals and are persistent synthetic chemicals and from poly fluorochemical substances. Oh my God. Like, talk about a chemistry lesson that just happened right in front of your guys' face. No, I'm just kidding. But anyways, they claim that the products they use PFASs, which is kind of the short term for it. But ultimately, like it's been proven that there hasn't been really sufficient evidence provided by the opposing party. But basically, the products that use PFAs are used in things like grease-proof products, waterproof products, also stick-proof products, and stain-resistant products. Also, it's found in pizza boxes. It's found in food wrappers, takeout containers, microwavable popcorn bags. And ultimately, it's frowned upon because of how long they last in the environment and in the human body. So, Eric D. Olson of the National Resources Defense Council, Senior Strategic Director of Health and Food, mentioned three dangers of PFASs. Basically, number one, it's resistant to breakdown all in the environment in our bodies. It moves quickly through the environment and rapidly, making contamination kind of impossible to contain. And also the PFASs are even, their extremely low levels of exposure can negatively impact us. So, doing that here. EPA, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, they don't really test or regulate for most PFA chemical that interferes with, they claim that it interferes with hormonal systems as well as reproductive systems. It also impacts the immune system and develops certain cancers like kidney, liver, and testicular cancer. So, that's, kind of like where we are when it comes to like plastics and stuff like that. That's why people are, plastics are so bad for the environment and stuff. But I think like it's crazy because they're saying how like everybody essentially uses them. So maybe that like he's like, okay, maybe we can get away with it. But ultimately, yeah, let's move on. So let's move on to Prime. Let's move on to Prime Hydration. So the ingredients found in Prime Hydration is water, coconut water, electrolytes, sodium, magnesium, and potassium, branch-chain amino acid, antioxidants, vitamins A and E, B vitamins, artificial sweeteners, natural flavors, and gum, arabic, and ester gum as stabilizers. So, you think about like why people use Prime, right? Electrolytes replenishment is important after extraneous exercise. The YouTube sensation, former boxer and current WWE superstar, obviously concerned against the lawsuit, posted a 3-minute video on Wednesday on TikTok, basically saying that anyone nowadays can sue anyone at any time. It doesn't necessarily make it true. This ain't no rinky-dink operation, he said. And he said, and he made sure that people understood this, that it's not about the drink itself, it's about the bottle that's being manufactured. Using the top, Prime Hydration uses the top bottle manufacturers in the U.S. Prime follows Title 21 for the Code of Regulations, and Title 1 regulation makes it unlawful to manufacture adulterated and misbranded food and or drugs in territories or District of Columbia. And also, PFAs can be found everywhere. The products mentioned earlier, household products, as well as personal care products like shampoo, dental floss. Logan Paul claimed that the Castillo's lawsuit is wildly inaccurate. Also, that he said that Prime. They said that Prime has 0.06 parts per trillion in terms of PFASs, and the Environmental Protection Agency states that anything under 1.1 cannot be deemed as accurate. So that's kind of like a hole in their argument right there. There, Paul kind of made it seem, and he kind of, he kind of brought it to light that the lawsuit it wasn't able to prove anything because they couldn't provide evidence towards their claim. EPA's recommendation in terms of removing PFASs from drinking water include reverse osmosis, active carbon treatment, and ion exchange treatment. Paul exclaimed that Prime Energy uses two out of three of those to clean water before it even becomes Prime. So he said for the customers' safety, Prime retains samples of every batch of Prime ever produced on the assembly line. Also, they claimed that the FDA investigated Prime was absolute slander and indeed was untrue. Prime follows every guideline and regulation. Prime is obviously, it's for athletes and adults. A lot of people claim that, like, just because people don't make it known, and of course it's not going to say on the bottle just for adults, not kids. Like, but then again, like, why do you want to give your kids kind of like, like, I know Gatorade is something, but Prime is not Gatorade. It's kind of like a drink for top tier athletes and performers that like the study said, it's for extraneous exercise. It's not for a kid coming home from middle school or high school or something like that. Just like energy drinks, when energy drinks were leading people to kind of have like heart attacks, and when people were freaking out about that. I remember the moment when my mom found me having an energy drink. She's like, Eric, what are you doing? You're killing yourself. I might as well have like a big bag of blow or something. Like, I'm just kidding. It's like, what are you doing? I don't know. I just thought that was, super interesting to kind of talk about today. And obviously, Logan Paul is a huge star, kind of moving forward in the WWE. And honestly, he's a hardworking man. He's an entrepreneur and stuff like that. Like, I dig him. I dig him. He's gonna be a father. He's like 110% cool. But then you also have to think of in terms of, can even just be negative publicity, because I know a lot of companies like the WWE, Major League Baseball, the NFL, et cetera, when it comes to just any kind of publicity, even if it's true or not, just any negative publicity surrounding the product is an absolute deal killer. They pull the product right away. So it should be interesting to see in the upcoming weeks what they decide to do with this whole Logan Paul and Prime hydration thing. So Prime's advertising deal with TKO. WWE has recently started using sponsors in the ring, which is genius, absolute genius. I kind of thought they should have done this a really, really long time ago. One of two reasons. Money. Obviously, that's like the huge thing. What gets people out of bed? Money. What causes people to, want to sue other people for no reason? Money. No, I'm just kidding. No. Let's not take a dark turn today. Let's not take a dark turn. Anyways, like, I don't know, it's kind of adapting to its like TKO counterpart in UFC, because you watch UFC, you see Anheuser-Busch, you see energy drinks, you see hydration, you see beer, mostly like beer and stuff like that. Like, you see Corona Extra, and then obviously UFC, and then you also see like fighting brands. You see like what is that? What is that brand that everybody was wearing? And I was like, why is that popping up? I can't believe I can't think of it. But it was like a clothing brand that like was exclusive to like UFC. You would see them wearing it on Tap Out. Tap Out. It was Tap Out. Tap Out blew up like crazy. I remember seeing people with like t-shirts that said Tap Out. I remember people wearing, I think I even saw some guy wearing shoes with the emblem on the side, and I was like, what the hell? Like, it was, I don't know. So that was like definitely something that blew up. And, obviously. So, like I said before, advertising is smart. Sponsors are smart. UFC brought in $48.3 million in sponsorship revenue last year. The WWE brought in only $15.4 million. I'm saying only 15.4 million dollars. No, but like in terms of a big giant company, I guess that's some kind of a failure. But obviously with them selling their mat and putting more basically advertising around the ring is going to cause them to make a lot more money, perhaps causing them to kind of pay more of their superstars or keeping a couple of them around more, perhaps. But I don't know. Let's see what how WWE goes about this. TKO's executive vice president and head of global partnerships, Grant Norris Jones, says that we're running UFC playbook here at the WWE. We've been behind the scenes to review categories and develop new creative ideas and more. So, definitely going to leave it up to you guys. Do you guys feel like ever since TKO, took over or just like became partners in WWE, do you feel like honestly it's been better? I know for me, I really, really do like it. I really, really do like it. I think they're going to make a great product behind Paul Levesque. And of course, you have chairman Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I just think that WWE from now on, it's going to be in good hands and it's going to get better. Definitely a perfect time to be a wrestling fan right now because I think I posted one of my shorts. I know I posted one of my shorts and like I think one guy, if you're listening right now, I'm sorry, but like he posted like, oh, people are still into this crap, and I was like, like I don't know what I was like this guy, this funny guy, but ultimately, like wrestling is making a comeback. Professional wrestling is in right now, so why don't you take the bait and just join the revolution that is wrestling? You know what I mean? Follow the bloodline. Follow Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson, AEW. Just basically try to find a nice little show because the WWE wrestling as a product on its own right now is kind of blowing up. So you don't want to miss anything like that. So yeah. Well, guys, that's it for me. Hope you guys liked my show. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Your support means the world to us. So please remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show and leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity all the way. And it really does make a difference, guys. It really does make a difference. And we love you guys to interact. We love you guys to share opinions, share your points of view on sports. We love talking sports. One of the reasons why people love sports, and I know I'm speaking about this on my behalf, is just your ability to just kind of share that passion with somebody else. Just like be able to share that passion. If you've ever been a sports fan in a family that doesn't watch sports, it can get a little lonely. And that's what I'm here for. That's what the GSMC Sports Network is here for. We're a family. We want you guys part of our bloodline at the GSMC, network. So we also invite you to like us to follow and like us on Facebook, Twitter/X, TikTok, and Instagram, so you guys can get more content and updates. Once again, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, I give up. No, I'm just kidding. I will never give up. John Cena, baby, never give up. No, but we have a bunch of like podcasts. We have Kenneth and football seating up tonight. We had the NFL draft tomorrow, and the next day we have just a couple more rounds going around. And also we have Sam on baseball. Baseball season just started up. We have Nelson on basketball. The NBA playoffs are heating up, definitely. So why don't you just give it a try? I think you'll like it. Thank you once again, guys, forever and always. And have an amazing day. Take care. See you on Friday.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to